Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jai Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashavanandana Vrayajanaranjana Anandana Vrayajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopiyana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yasodanandana Vrayajanaranjana Nandana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jai Śrīla Prabhupada ki Jai Samaveta Gaura Bhaktivedanta ki Jai Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki Jai Gaura Premanandi Hari Hari Bo Narayanang namaskrityam naran chaiva narotaman Devim saraswatim vyasam tato jajanudirajet Nasta prayesu vadresu Nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavati utama sloke Bhaktir vavaiti naistikim Om namo bhavate vasudevaya Om namo bhavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Thank you so much for being here today in the Śrīmad Bhāgavatam class. So today we are reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam Canto 8, Chapter 23, The Demigods Regain the Heavenly Planets, and the text for today, two texts, 11 and 12. Because they don't have purport, so we can also read 13 and 14. So you can repeat after me, please. Sri Sukha Vacha Agnam Bhagavato Rajam Prakarado Valinasaha Vadan iti amala pragyo Murnya adaja kritanjalai. Okay, it's a little bit challenging, the pronunciation. Yeah. Sri Sukha Vacha Ajñam Bhagavato Rajam Pragrado Valinan Saha Vadam iti amala pragyo Murnya adaja kritanjalihi Sri Sukha Vacha Agnan Bhagavato Rajan Pragrado Valinasaha Bhagdam iti amala pragyo Murnya adaja kritanjalehe Pragnavato Raja Murniya Daja Kritanjali Sri Sukha Vacha Ajñam Bhagavato Rajam Pragrado Valinasaha Adam Vidyamala Pragyo Nadyant Sri Sukha Vacha Ajñam Bhagavato Rajam Pragrado Valinasaha Adam iti amala pragyo Murnya daja kritanjalehi. Please, Madhu. Please, Sukha Vacha. Ajnanam Bhagavato Rayam Prarado Balina Saha Badan iti amala prakno Munyadataja kritanjali. Thank you. The second verse, I think this is 12. Parikrama madi purusham sarvasura chamupati pranatastat anugyatam taha pravivesha mahavilam. Translation. Would you like to repeat word by word? Perhaps we can learn more in that way too. If you can repeat, please. Sri Sruka Uvacha. Sri Sukadev Goswami said, Ajnan, the order, Bhagavata, or the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rajan, O King, Maharaj Parikshit, Pragrada, Maharaj Pralada, Balina Saha, accompanied by Bali Maharaj. Vadam, yes, sir. What you said is all right. Iti, das, Amala Pragya, Prahlad Maharaj, who has clear intelligence, Mordini on his head, Adaja accepting, Krita Ajalihi with folded hands, Parikramya after circumambulating, Ada Purusha, Adi Purusha, right? The Supreme Original Person, Bhagavan, Sarva Asura Chamupatihi, the master of all chiefs of demons, Pranata, after offering obeisances, that Anugyata, being permitted by him, Lord Vamana, Pavivesha, entered Mahavilam, the planet known as Sutala. Translation. Srila Sukadeva Goswami said, accompanied by Bali Maharaj, my dear King Parikshit, Prahlad Maharaj, the master of all the chiefs of the demons, took the Supreme Personalities, the Supreme Lord's order on his head with folded hands. After saying yes to the Lord, circumambulating him and offering him respectful obeisances, he entered the lower planetary system known as Sutala. So we have this verse doesn't have purport, so we continue with the text number 13. Translation. Hare, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, thereafter addressing Śrīmad who was sitting nearby in the midst of the assembly of the priests, Brahma, Hota, Udgata, and Atbadiyu. O Maharaj Parikshit, these priests were all Brahmavadis, followers of the Vedic principles for performing sacrifices. Text 14. O best of the Brahmanas, Śrīmad, please describe the fault or discrepancy of your disciple Bali Maharaj, who engage in performing sacrifices. This fault will be nullified when judged in the presence of qualified brahmanas. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. When Bali Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj has departed for the planet Sutala, Lord Vishnu asked Śukracharya what the fault was in Bali Maharaj for which Śukracharya had cursed him. It might be argued that since Bali Maharaj has now left the scene, how could his faults be judged? In reply to this, Lord Vishnu informed Śukracharya that there was no need for Bali Maharaj's presence, for his faults and discrepancies could be nullified if judged before the Brahmanas. As will be seen in the next verse, Bali Maharaj has no faults. Śukracharya has unnecessarily cursed him. Nonetheless, this was better for Bali Maharaj being cursed by Śukracharya. Bali Maharaj was deprived of all his possessions, with the result that the Supreme Personality of Godhead favored him for his strong faith in devotional service. Of course, a devotee is not required to engage in fruitive activities. As stated in the Shastras, Sarvarhanam Achyuteya, Bhāgavatam 4:31-14. By worshipping Achyuta, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, one satisfies everyone, because Bali Maharaj has satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead. There were no discrepancies in his performance of sacrifices. Olam Gyanati Mirandasya Gyanam Gyanasalakaya Chakshurulumiltan Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Mukhaṁ Karoti Vatsalam Fangun Langajate Girim Chatkripa Maham Bande Sri Guru Dinatarinan Paramananda Vardhanan Sri Chaitanya Ishvaram Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami iti namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunjavadi Paschatya Desatarine Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmad Siddhanu Pesak Swami iti namine Vanchakalpataruyascha Kripa Sindhuvyacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. Wow. Thank you so much again for being here to our class today. I thought it's important for us to understand the context, like always. It's important to read Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, any part that we are reading. It's better understood if we also know or understand the context in what that specific text or statement is being said. So at this point, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vāmanadeva, is asking to Śukracharya what is the fault of Bali Maharaj, why he cursed him. As we heard, Śukracharya and Bali Maharaj Prahlad Maharaj already left. They are not there. So they went to the place Sutala, so the lower planetary system, Sutala. And it's described in the 5th canto, when we studied before. It's described the opulence of this planet. It's even more opulent and rich than the heavenly planets. It's amazing how this planet is so much full of wealth, jewelries, and all the facilities for sense enjoyment compared to the heavenly planet. And we can question, or we can ask ourselves, how is that possible? There can be something better than the heavenly planet. It's being in the lower planetary systems. It's a special arrangement that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in this case, Vamana, arranged to reciprocate the devotional attitude of Bali Maharaj. He arranged in that way because there is in these pastimes there are many teachings. We always hear that Krishna acts in a way that he fulfills many purposes at the same time. His activities doesn't only satisfy one purpose. It has many purposes, reciprocating in different levels to all the persons or people involved in those pastimes. So it's important for us also to understand that it's not, for example, in this pastime, when the Lord is reciprocating Bali Maharaj devotional or his attitude of surrender, many people around has been involved. In this case, at this point, it's Śrīmad the spiritual master of the demons, and many priests as well. Prabhupada nicely explained here, for example, that the priests who were present there, Prabhupada mentioned four different priests, and explained that they are very much conversed with the Vedic principles and the performing of sacrifices. Why is this point very important at this point? It's because the Lord wants to emphasize the value or the attitude of Bali Maharaj for all of us to know, to understand this principle of surrender. By worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as Bali Maharaj did, all the other duties or responsibilities that, if we can say, apparently Bali Maharaj neglected, it's not the reactions of that is nullified, because he offered everything to the source of everything. It means to God, to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there is a quotation here in the purpose when Prabhupada mentioned a verse in the Bhagavatam. It's in Canto 4, the chapter 30 verse, and the text is 14. The verse explained that by watering the root, all the branches, the twigs, the leaves of the tree will be satisfied. The idea is to water the roots. So in this case, by worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the source of everything, so everything will be satisfied and fulfilled. So this principle is very much applied in this point. And because of that principle, those brahmanas who are very much conversed in the Vedic principles and the principles of how to perform yagyas, because they know this point, they will agree that the apparently false or discrepancy in the behavior of Bali Maharaj, it's nullified. And this is pointed out by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He knows who are around, who are those brahmanas. For example, the brahmanas are four here: Brahma, Hota, Udgata, and Advaryo. Actually, these are some different categories of brahmanas. In the performing of yagya, when we have yagyas, generally we have four types of brahmanas present there. It said that the Brahma, one of those type of brahmanas, He is the general supervisor. He supersees what is happening, if everything is clear, complete. And the Hota is the Brahmana who will chant the mantras for example, from the Rig Veda. And then Udgata, it's another Brahmana who will also recite hymns from the Samaveda. And the Uddhavaryu, this Brahmana, it's expert in reciting all the performance and rules and regulations of Atharva Veda. So all of them are very much connected, working together in the performance of these sacrifices. So in this way, for example, because they are very much knowledgeable about those Vedic principles, they will understand at the moment when Bali Maharaj was doing the sacrifice to give charity, because if you remember, Bali Maharaj was organizing a big ceremony to celebrate his victory. He won the battle with the demon, between demigods and demons. So he got all the heavenly planets, all the universe actually. He was the king at that time. So to celebrate that, he organized a ceremony for Yajna sacrifices, so to give charity. So at that moment, it's that when Vamanadev appeared. But in that performance of sacrifice, he surrendered everything to Vamanadev, despite that his Guru Maharaj said something different. So in that way, we need to understand what was his fault, actually. So if anybody can tell us what actually was the so-called fault of Bali Maharaj, why Śrīmad cursed him? Anybody knows about that? Because we are talking just precisely here, the fault of Bali Maharaj. Well, as we said, the fault was that he didn't listen to his Guru Maharaj. His Guru Maharaj said, don't give to Vamanadev this small Brahmana, little boy, beautiful boy, who can, don't follow, don't fulfill his request. This small Brahmana, little dwarf Brahmana, he asks for 3 steps of land. And so, but Śrīmad understood that this wasn't an ordinary little Brahmana. He was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he told him, if you follow, you give the charity to this Brahmana, you will lose everything. He will take away everything from you, and you will be placed in the lower planetary system. That was Śrīmad curse advice and curse at the same time. Because Bali Maharaj didn't follow that instruction. That was in the middle of the sacrifice, the ceremony that it was performed there at that time. So, but we know what happened. Vamanadev took everything from Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj surrendered to him. But one point that I thought is quite interesting to mention and important for us to understand is that when Vamanadev appeared, at that time, Bali was sitting in his throne, everybody was there, so it's a lot of social pressure. It's the king, all the brahmanas, all the demons around, glorifying him. So he saw Vamanadev, and at that time, in his heart, he wanted to offer obeisances to him. He wanted to glorify to him. He felt that, but he wasn't able to do it. He didn't do it. because he said that everybody was around looking at him, what he will do, and it wouldn't be seen appropriate for him to get down from his throne and pay obeisances to Vamanadev. What the old demons will think about it. So it was a lot of social pressure for him, and his prestige as well. But inside, he wanted to glorify the Lord. So maybe it sometimes happens to you, many times in my case happened. Sometimes I want to do something, but because of the circumstances, insecurities, I don't do it. Miss the opportunity. But more than that, it's because Krishna is in the heart of every living entity. Krishna knew about that desire, that beautiful and intense desire that Bali Maharaj had. So the Lord arranged everything in a way that it will satisfy and fulfill that desire of Bali Maharaj. So Bali Maharaj wanted to glorify the Lord, to pay obeisances and surrender to him. So the Lord forced the circumstance in a way that will take place. A little bit harsh way, because he even was tied with the ropes of Varuna, and it was kind of embarrassing circumstance, because he was very much concerned about the social pressure, what others will think about him. The Lord forced that situation that others also saw how embarrassing the situation that he was experiencing at that time. But it was just a cleansing process, a cleansing experience for him to awaken or fan the devotion that he has experienced inside his heart. Because with that experience of being so, in some way, embarrassed in the middle of everybody, Bali Maharaj was more prone to surrender. Okay, I don't care anymore. It's happening. Everybody see my circumstance, my challenges. I don't have nothing else to lose, so let me show myself how I am. So in that way, he expressed himself to the Lord and offered himself. When the Lord asked, where can I put the third step? So he offered himself. What else I can do? It's what I have. But at the same time, it's an expression of, well, it's me who I'm offering. It's me. I don't care anymore about the other circumstances, other people thinking or what they will think about me. It's who I am. So that I thought is quite interesting to understand in our interaction as practicing devotees. We will experience similar situations where we are more confronted especially to demonstrate to the Lord our faith, our devotion. Perhaps in a ways that sometimes can create some discrepancy or disturbance among others. But the personal relationship that we have with the Lord and that devotion and love that we want and we need to express will be fostered in situations that sometimes can be embarrassing. Yeah. But I think it's a point that we need to perhaps appreciate as well and prepare ourselves. Because I was remembering a class of our visiting S.B. Keshava Swami about the challenges, how to see the challenges, the difficulties and problems. He mentioned about 3 important principles that we need to overcome, or misconceptions that we need to overcome. So in order to prepare ourselves for those challenges or so-called difficult times that we will encounter. And in this case, how I'm relating to this pastime is because externally we can see that it was a difficult time for Bali Maharaj, challenged how to fulfill his functions as the king and giving charity as disciple because his Guru Maharaj was there, and his own needs. So it was a little bit confronting situation. Most of us, we experience that in different ways, in different levels, every day in our life. So, Swami Kesha Maharaj presented, for example, a principle that many of us, we have the misconceptions that problems won't come. We have the theoretical understanding that problems will come, but when they appear, so we get in shock. We have some shock because it's just more theoretical understanding. So, but we need to internalize this principle in this life experience. Challenges, problems will always come. And we just need to change the conception that the challenge and problems are negative, are bad. If we change that mentality that problems and challenges are no bad, instead, they are opportunities for us to develop some skills, to perhaps grow, learn. So that attitude will help us will prepare us to face the challenges in a better way. The other conception that we have about the challenges is that the challenges or the problems are unsurmountable, in the sense that it's so difficult to overcome. But if we understand that those challenges, we will face them not because of our own strength, but if we surrender or we trust in Krishna's protection, then those problems or those challenges will be easily to overcome. So this is very much related to the principle that we are studying here at Bhaktivedanta and surrender, because Bali Maharaj, it's the representation of what a surrender means at Bhaktivedanta. And in the Nectar of Devotion, we study about the 6 principles of surrender. And it's very much into this, connected to this point. When, for example, we were talking about the challenges, if we connect with the 6 principles of surrender, when we, for example, the first 2 is accepting and rejecting, accepting what is favorable for devotional service or for our spiritual growth, and then is rejecting, avoiding things that they are not favorable for our spiritual growth. Then we have understanding that Krishna is the protector. If we have that conviction that Krishna is the protector, that gives us the strength and also the ability to act according to Krishna's plans. The 4th principle is, I personally am trying to cultivate this, is that we need to understand that we depend of Krishna. Not just because Krishna is the protector, but depend of Krishna is that any ability, any capacity that we have, it comes from Krishna. It has to be clear understanding of this principle in our day-by life activities, because whatever we do, the skills or abilities that we have, we need always to have awareness that that ability comes from Krishna only. Well, that is the 4th principle of surrender. And the 5th is not having any independent desire other than the desires of the Lord. So as practicing devotees, we try to align our desires with spiritual desires, trying to please, trying to fulfill Krishna's desires. And at the end, the foundation of this surrender principle, or surrender attitude, is the humility, the sixth principle, be humble. But also reading an article from Radhanath Swami, it's very much connected with this principle. It said that for us to develop and be successful in our spiritual practice and to develop good qualities, even skills, abilities, the soil or the foundation is very much connected to two qualities that we need to cultivate. This is gratitude and humility. So why I mention this is because the attitude of Vali Maharaj, as we heard and we learned, that he is the representative, the ideal example of surrender at Manivedana. He expressed his gratitude and his humility to the Lord. That was what pleased Krishna, and how Krishna reciprocated beyond his expectations. In this specific pastime, when Bali Maharaj acknowledged his limitations, even his wife, Vindhyavali, when Vamanadev asked about the charity that he wanted, the 3 steps, Vindhyavali, a very wise lady, she said, this fool, referring to her husband, this fool, he thinks he can give charity, not knowing that everything belongs to the Lord. It's nothing that we have belongs to us, it belongs to Krishna. And she acknowledged that. And that statement helped also Bali Maharaj to understand his position. So that connection, why it's important to understand that whatever we have, or the skills, abilities that we have, comes from Krishna, belongs to Krishna. It's also will impel, it will foster in us the gratitude attitude, real gratitude. Because we will acknowledge, we will count our blessings. We will acknowledge that whatever we experience, we have, it's all because Krishna is giving to us. So naturally, we will feel grateful. And by cultivating these 2 qualities, all the auspiciousness, all the other good qualities also will be easily developed in our personality, in our character. Just to conclude the presentation, I thought it would be interesting to understand how also Krishna tried to help Śrīmad. Vamanadev in this pastime is not just fulfilling Bali Maharaj's desire of surrender. It's not just, for example, reinstating the demigods in the throne of the heavenly planets, because after Bali Maharaj and Prahlad Maharaj went to the Sutala planet, at that point, Indra regained his throne because Vamanadev gave him back. And at that time also we can see that Aditi, the mother of demigods, after the sacrifice, Pajovrata sacrifice that she was performing, she also, her desire was fulfilled. So Vamanadev fulfilled the desire of many at the same time. Indra regained his throne, Aditi Mata was satisfied with her desire, her kids were again in the heavenly planets. Bali Maharaj experienced that surrender, that emotion, reciprocation of his devotion with something that is beyond his capacity, his expectations, because he just not got only the opulent place like Sutala. More than that, he got the personally assistance of the Lord. Vamadev is personally there with him. What else could be better than that? And now, Krishna, Vamanadev, he wants also to help Śrīmad. We understand that this predicament of Bali Maharaj being cursed by his Guru Maharaj because he didn't follow his instructions, it's a little bit of challenging us because Śrīmad instructed him something different against the desires of the Lord. So now Vamanadev is asking to Śrīmad, what is the fault of my disciple, of your disciple, of Bali, by him surrender, giving everything to me? Is that his fault? Why you curse him? And Śrīmad, because again, the presence of the Lord, association of the Lord, and also this Brahmana is very knowledgeable of the Vedic principles, he will acknowledge, he will regain the proper knowledge and acknowledge that Bali Maharaj didn't do any fault. And more than that, he will praise and he will establish the glories of the holy name. So next verse, we will study, we will read, we will learn the importance of the holy name. And this glorification, very important verse, has been spoken by Śrīmad, the guru of the demigods. It's quite interesting. I was trying to understand his position, because in one moment he's against the Lord's desires. He's worried about his how can I satisfy my desires if my disciple, who is he's losing everything, what will be my gain? He's concerned about it, and at that point he got confused. And now the point is that in the presence of the Lord, Śrīmad himself will get the relief, the freedom of those conditionings, those fears, and he will establish the glories of the holy name of the Lord. So I thought it's the same person who is experiencing two different levels of activities or emotions or spiritual realizations. And it can, if we analyze, it can happen to us as well. Sometimes, as practicing devotees, sometimes because due to our false identification with the body and whatever is related to the body, sometimes we experience some fears, and even we condition or limited our devotional service. But because then in association of advanced devotees and the holy name, all the spiritual practices, our mind, our consciousness also change. So the value of association, the value of the spiritual practices, it's also very much shown here with the transformation in the attitude of Śrīmad that we will study a little bit more in the next verse. So, if anybody has any question at this point, any comment? Yes, Hayagriva Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you for the nice class. My question was, if the like Bali Maharaj did, like if the Guru stands in your way of Krishna consciousness, then Bali Maharaj neglected his Guru, But nowadays, many a time, like the guru is mostly correct. So when do we know like when to reject? Because sometimes, for example, like if a devotee wants to go somewhere in a remote place and wants to start a new center, then the guru may not send him because there's no devotee association there, and he may probably fall down there. But the devotee may think that he's standing in the way of his Krishna consciousness or preaching, so then he may neglect. So how do we know like when?
Okay, thank you for your question, Prabhu. Quite interesting. Yeah, two things come to my mind. It said that we need to have three important pillars for us to discriminate what is or has to be done, what to be done. It is Guru, Shastra, and Sadhu. Based on those three pillars, when we can have the certainty that whatever we say, whatever we do, it's properly aligned. So, if the Guru is saying something, and as you mentioned, the Guru is properly situated and is his caring mood, the disciples should be submissive to the instruction of the Guru. Besides, as practicing devotees and disciples, we need to understand that the service that we perform, we offer to the Lord, has to be authorized. So when it's authorized, so we get the blessings for the success of the service. It shouldn't be whimsical. So those are the two things that comes to my mind. I hope it helps. Yeah. Any other comment and question, perhaps? Okay. Grandara Śrīmad Bhāgavatam ki, Jai Śrīla Prabhupada ki, Jai Gaura Premananti, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripa Sindhu Yevacha.